That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm starting on the time that I said I would. I had very little issue with this. Things went relatively well. I just wanted to start off with a quick announcement regarding Comic Book Club for those that are watching this after the fact. I don't know how many people are here live, or if any at the moment. But Comic Book Club Volume 3, I've got some books set aside for, and I'll be posting an announcement video, or a poll video, with a date announcement. So it'll have the date, and it'll have a poll for which book we'll be talking about. You know, either vote on what you already own or what you're the most interested in, and yada yada yada. That'll be posted Saturday. I'll be throwing that one up, so people can keep an eye out for it, and I hope we get more and more people to join. For the first volume we did DC, then the second volume we did Marvel. This time we're going for third-party independence, not like super indie stuff. Like there's I've got, let's see here, Wildstorm, Vertigo, Dynamite, and IDW. And so, like, yeah, Wildstorm and Vertigo are technically DC, but not really. I don't know. We'll get to it. It'll be a thing eventually. So, if you're watching this after the fact, you know, maybe, depending on how far after the fact, go check out the video that'll be posted again on Saturday to vote on what book we'll be talking about if you want to join. It's a good time, give you time to buy the book if you don't have it. Anyway, this week we've got a lot to get through, so I'm not going to wait too long. We'll be starting off with Batwoman, number 13. Then we'll talk about The Brave and the Bold, number 2. Bombshells United, number 14. Batman, number 43. Jirni, I think it's supposed to basically phonetically come out to genie, but spelled differently. And Super Sons, number 14. That's all the single issues. And then for trade talk, we'll be talking about Green Lantern Earth 1. I was very excited for this, by the way. So, plenty of stuff to get into, and we're not going to really waste any time at all. We're going to start in just one more second. Hi to Zorro Fan Productions. Thanks for joining me. Hi to everyone else that's in the live show. Anyway, Batwoman number 13. Oddly enough, I ended up getting the variant cover for this. Normally I just get normal covers, but all their normals have been damaged, so I got variant, which is cool. And it's Lee Bermejo. I love Lee Bermejo's art, and I've never seen him draw a Batwoman before, and it's really, really cool. Gotta dig it, man. Got to dig it. So anyway, I don't know how I feel about the twist in this one. Maybe that'll change as I go. But full disclosure, the way things were set up at the end of last issue, the impression that I got, or the implication that was given, was that Sophia, who Kate Kane had a relationship with, during a very dark period of her life, was going to be kind of like a Talia al Ghul to Kate's Bruce Wayne, and be kind of this like evil mastermind running this worldwide corporation. And I was like really down for that. I was kind of digging it, and there was just so much that set her up that it felt really natural, and just it felt like a really strong choice. And then in this issue, like, we get Kate kind of confronting her about that, whether she is this evil mastermind and yada yada yada. And the answer we get is no. No, in fact, she's not. The evil mastermind that has been behind the many arms of death the whole time is Kate Kane's sister. Like, I don't know. I love Marguerite Bennett, and I trust her as a writer to make her into a really good villain, but there was just so much build-up for Sophia to have this shift over to the sister being the lead villain, I don't know. That just felt really weak to me, and not nearly as emotionally invested, because I felt like the twist was that Sophia was the villain, and then we got the background of what turned her against Kate Kane, and then we got the reveal that she like has a reason to hate Kate Kane now, and then I don't know, you just get this last page reveal in Gotham City, as Kate Kane's sister is there, and like they call her Alice, but there's like this whole thing. As I am renamed in my service to you, so you are renamed in your rule over them. No more Elizabeth Kane, no more sweet sister Beth. I brought them a princess, a red queen. Alice. So she's going by the name Alice. And there's a mention toward the beginning of the book. I should, full disclosure, I've not read Batwoman's old 52 run. And I've heard great things about it. It's just never got around to it, kind of thing. So Batwoman Elegy is put in the editor notes here. And says, there's this moment of Kate Kane's narration. It ended when Alice's hand slipped through my fingers as she fell into the bay. And that's a reference, I guess, to Batman or to Batwoman Elegy. Sounds cool. I didn't read it, and I can't help but feel like the name Alice is, being used in a very particular way, and so maybe this has more meaning for me, and I'm just not getting it. I also think it's a little on the questionable side to make another of Kate Kane's family members a villain. I didn't read what Tynion was doing, but I know that his stuff, I believe it was his stuff, took Kate's father and kind of turned him into a bad guy in Detective. And so to do basically the same thing, to take Kate's sister and turn her into this mastermind villain, just seems like a really questionable and kind of repetitious move. It reminds me of the Earth 1 books for Superman Earth 1 and Batman Earth 1, volume 3 and 2 respectively, where they both have the same twist that they both have the same twist in that, like, the villain that you're expecting, the classic villain, dies and someone else is now the actual villain. Like Harvey Dent. Spoilers for Batman Earth 1 and Volume 2 and Superman Earth 1 and Volume 3. But Lex Luthor dies and his wife becomes the Lex Luthor of that universe. And in Batman, Harvey Dent dies, and I believe it's his sister. Yeah, his sister becomes the Two-Face of that universe. So just, I don't know. It's a little underwhelming that the twist has already been used, I think. But, I still trust Margaret Bennett as a writer. And I do think this is a really well-written issue up until that twist. And it's not like it doesn't seed the twist. It gives you a lot of stuff about how Kate Kane loses everyone eventually. And that is just her lot in life, to lose people. And so that's really interesting. And I like this scene of her walking through her childhood home, and it's the last place she thought of as home. That's kind of cool. But again, the twist, the end of an issue can really affect everything. And the twist ending here really did throw it off for me a little bit. So I don't know. I'll probably end up rereading this issue or a couple of these issues once the story arc is finished. But as of right now, I'm not super pleased with this last-minute turn. That being said, what kind of villain Alice becomes will be really interesting. Side note, but does anyone remember Dark Knight from right before the New 52, written and drawn by David Finch, and he had the villain called the White Rabbit, and she just looked like a Playboy bunny. I really like that, we're not shying away from the whole down the rabbit hole Alice in Wonderland comparison here. We've got Alice here with petting a white bunny, and she's clearly wearing white furs. I like that look. She actually looks like a supervillain as opposed to the White Rabbit who looked like a stripper. So good design choice there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to The Brave and the Bold, number 2. Now, I really, really loved the first issue of Brave and the Bold. I thought it was a really, really well-written and fun start to the story. This issue, for a mini... God damn it, stay. This issue, for a miniseries, does have a real problem that I've noticed with miniseries, which is a lot happens in this issue, but all of the implication of where we knew the story was going to go from the end of the second issue happens in this issue. But, we could have just started with the way this issue ends. There's just a lot that goes on. There's a lot of summarizing and recap, and I really don't like that, especially in a miniseries. I tolerate it in ongoings. I tolerate recapping what happened in the last issue or the last story arc in ongoings that I've been reading. Because I understand it's an ongoing series. You don't want to make people go back and have to read every single issue of the run or of the book ever in order to understand your story. But with a miniseries, especially when we're only 2 issues in, I don't think miniseries have the responsibility to summarize the story because it is a self-contained thing, and it is more than anything meant for the trade. So this is going to feel especially awkward when we get to trade. And it's not that I don't like what happens in this. This just feels like a lot of spinning our wheels, catching up, playing out a dynamic that we're already well aware of. Alright, so the king is dead, and a boy is accused. And so the first couple pages is Wonder Woman trying to settle down the situation, use the golden lasso to show that the boy didn't kill the king, because it's the truth, and people throwing doubt on the power of the lasso. Okay, that's fine. That stuff works. Then we have Batman in the Irish Quarter suffering from hallucination, and he has to get himself out of there. Also, fine. That really works. Side note, I really like that Alfred helps Batman to overcome all of what he's seen and get out of the alley. I think that's really cool. And also, the art in these scenes is just absolutely amazing. So those 2 events I'm fine with. It's after that point that things start to really just spin their wheels. And it gets very tiresome. There's this whole scene of Bruce realizing that what happened to him had to be magic, and that Alfred needs to get the Batmobile out of that area remotely because he can't go back into it without falling victim to the effects again. And then we go back to Wonder Woman, and she's dealing with these internal squabbles, and people are explaining their history and why they're in the realm. But we got the history and why this realm exists the way it does in the last issue. And then there's almost a fight, and Wonder Woman has to break it up and say, I know a way to settle this. I know a way to find the king's murderer. And she says, good people, I know a man who can help. A knight. And then we go back to the Irish Quarter with this homeless guy we've been following, and I don't quite know his significance to the story, though he's somehow found a way to access this realm. That part could stay, but then this, the whole section with Wonder Woman breaking up this fight did not need to happen, because she could have just said that right as soon as she set the guy down and settled everyone back in, page 2 or 3. And then there's just this huge section of dialogue between Batman and Alfred about trying to devise a way to track magic scientifically. It's an interesting it's an interesting thing from Batman's perspective, I think, because Batman is, in my opinion, my assessment of the character, is the kind of guy who thinks there's a science to everything, that there's a way to comprehend everything from a scientific perspective. It's just his knowledge of science is limited because he's just a man. So, like, magic is just another another force that can be comprehended, but he just doesn't. And I'm fine with that. So, like, this is an interesting conversation, but it's just really, really useless to moving the book along, because, 3 pages of conversation between Alfred and Bruce. And Bruce has already found out it's magic. He talks about his experiences with magic. That's a really cool quasi-werewolf, by the way. It's gorgeous to look at, which is why I kind of hate to complain. But it's just this whole conversation of magic, and the book ends with Wonder Woman showing up saying, "Bruce, I need your help. There's been a murder." That's just... That could have happened by the first third of the book. I really feel like a lot of the scenes in this could have been reduced down to the first third of the book, and that in a 6-issue miniseries, you cannot be wasting time like this. And I've noticed this a lot with miniseries. Like, they'll just kind of spin their wheels and get really lost in a lot of stuff that it needs to be more economical than that, since you only have 6 issues to tell this story. And so I'm really disappointed by that. That being said, Liam Sharp, as far as I know, this is the first thing he's written. So it's an understandable mistake. He may have written some stuff before, I'm not sure. It's an understandable mistake to not quite comprehend that level of, or not, comprehend's not the right word. To not accurately use his time, to not economically use his time. But unless, like, Batman's idea of how to track magic comes back into the resolution of this murder mystery, a lot of the stuff in this feels very, very useless, and that's a problem. And I could be onto something there. Maybe that conversation is seeding for the purpose of helping solve the mystery. Maybe this prolonged interaction with the fairy people in this alternate dimension, or pocket dimension, land, whatever, are going to have something to do with the developments of the mystery. But as is, it reads like ketchup and filler. And so, again, the miniseries, I feel, is made for the month, or made for the trade. So this will probably read better if it's being used right. This will read better in completion. Reading it monthly, that feels different. It feels like something else. So it could still end up working. But I gotta talk about Liam Sharp's art. I love all the knot work for all the Celtic imagery. I think that's really, really cool, the way he borders these panels with all the Celtic knots. Let's see if I can get some screen sharing going and show off some Celtic knot work, because if you haven't seen this stuff, it's actually quite incredible. As part of the artistic tradition of Ireland and other North British regions. Yeah, there we go. That's what I want. Kinda, sorta. Now, how do I increase the size? No. Huh. There we go. That's what I want. Alright. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me pop into the screen and make sure that comes up right. There we go. That's working. Alright. You get an infinite windows. Sorry about that. Let's pop over here and I'll show you some the way the art That was terrible misspelling. Yeah, there we go. There's a really good image. So, like, this kind of shit is just all over a lot of Celtic traditions, and it's real... It looks like the Triforce. It's really, really cool. I love some of this stuff. And, like, it's one of the few things that was able to be saved during the Christian conversion process of the tradition. They were able to save all this knotting and geometric work, and it almost, you know, the only other thing that that I can think of that it reminds me of is tribal tattoos. Like, you look at this guy's tat work here, and this, you know, it's just very reminiscent of that. God, I wish I had. Let me see here. I wonder if I can find some of the stuff from Gardner's Art Through the Ages on the different Celtic things. Because that stuff was always really, really cool. Yeah, see, look at all the really intricate work in some of this stuff is just absolutely incredible. So it's really, really cool that Sharp's been able to bring that stuff over into his Wonder Woman story, and with this, you know, new mythology he's playing with for the DC universe. I think it's really cool that he's I think it's really cool the way he's integrating all that stuff. So I really enjoy it. I think it's neat, and it's just hella fun to look at. Of course, the people look really amazing too. Some of the imagery here is just freaking jaw-dropping. And Sharp is very, very talented at the art, and I'm really curious to see how he develops on the writing side. Again, I've got some problems with this, but the more I'm thinking about it, I think it might be conceivable to remedy it in the completion. I gotta remember that I'm dealing with a murder mystery, so everything that feels superfluous can actually end up being very important. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to Bombshells United, number 14. Again, we continue with this crossover between the Suicide Squad and the Batgirls of Gotham, and we get like an update. This is what I'm talking about when I say, like, monthly books will do the catch you up thing, because this whole two-page spread of exposition just kind of lets you know who the players are and everything that's going on, for the most part. Who's in the story, what's happening that are making these characters interact. But it's not forced, because there's no reason for the characters having the conversation to know about the Batgirls of Gotham. So when they show up in the next page, they kind of, like, provide exposition to who they are that is natural to the scene. So that's really fitting. There's the classic superheroes are having a disagreement, so they break out into a fight thing. I really like that. There's this one moment in particular that I really found funny, since Batgirl in this continuity is a vampire. One of the Batgirls' bats gets broken and turned into a stake, and she waves it at Batgirl, which is, I know this is going to get very confusing. There's the Batgirls of Gotham, then there's Batgirl. Not Batwoman, Batgirl. Anyway, she waves the broken bat at her, and she's like, "Watch where you point that thing, child. Someone could get hurt." And you just got Felicity Smoke. "Wait, is the stake through the heart thing real?" And she just says, "Who wouldn't that kill?" I really like that. Who would not die from a stake through the heart? Come the hell on. That's a good point. So yeah, it's pretty classic, you know, everybody fights and there's, you know, the misunderstanding superhero thing until it's realized that Black Canary's not the one hurting people, hypnotizing them through song, as members of the Suicide Squad get hypnotized. And so, after having to deal with them being kind of possessed by this evil spirit, the Batgirls team up with the remainder of the Suicide Squad to go after Enchantress and Ravager. I really like that panel of Enchantress as she's possessed. It's really cool. To go after Enchantress and Ravager, and yeah, so it's a little team-up story kind of thing. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a ton to talk about. They just become a team. One little design thing that I hadn't noticed that I think... Oh, there's perfect, right on the right panel. One design thing I hadn't noticed before that I think is really cool is Batgirl's cape. Because she's, like, known for being a parachuter in this continuity and everything. And so though she can fly now, the way she stores her cape and allows herself to help with aerodynamics and stuff is in a little coffin-shaped backpack, which the cape comes out of either side. I think that's kind of neat. Anyway. Yeah. I don't know. Again, this is just okay. I've not been a huge fan of the Batgirls of Gotham or the Suicide Squad stuff in this book. But it was fine. I'm just waiting to get back to either Kate Kane, Wonder Woman. Really curious what's going on with Vixen. Seems like it's been a while since we checked in with Vixen, you know? But still enjoyable, still a fun read. And as always, I recommend that people pick up Bombshells United or Bombshells what have you. But otherwise, I don't know, maybe not this arc. Maybe this would be a good time to go get, Volume 1 enlisted. It's fine though. Let's see, what's going on in live comments? Zorro's fan production says, what are your thoughts on the Zorro post-apocalyptic movie reboot? Oh, man. Oh, I remember that trailer, and there's so many good ideas in that, but then he shows up with a fucking katana, and I'm like, no, that's not... Zorro needs a rapier. It needs to be a rapier. Fencing is Zorro's thing, not samuraiing. So, that side really annoys me, but then there's a lot about the tone I really like, that it seems inherently revolutionary, which is, I think, very necessary for Zorro. I don't know if that's still happening or not, though. Maybe I need to look into that, because I just remember that concept teaser they released a number of years ago now, and I haven't looked into it since, because I thought that was pretty dead. I know for a while they were talking about making a live adaptation of Django Zorro. Quentin Tarantino was talking about that, but I doubt it'll ever happen. Akuma Ranger says, can Zorro have a laser sword? So I'm going to go tell you to watch something, but I'm going to let you know it's awful. It is the worst thing connected to Zorro, in my personal opinion. But Zorro Generation Z, he has a lightsaber. It's just a lightsaber. And it can fold, it's got like a really long handle, and it can fold into the shape of a Z, and he can use it for other things, like a light whip. It's really bad, but I don't have a problem with Zorro having a lightsaber. As long as he uses it in a fencing style, not in a striking, cutting katana style. Is there a specific name for katana style dueling? I don't know. Pardon me while I scooch my microphone over a little bit here. Alright. Let's go ahead and talk Batman, number 43. So this is the conclusion to the Everybody Loves Ivy story, I believe. Yeah, I believe. Anyway. And so here we get what Ivy's doing, what she's been planning, or not really what she's been planning, we kind of know that. What the specifics that she's been working on are, and why she's doing it and why she's so troubled. That being that she committed murder back in the War of Jokes and Riddles. And we get what Bruce's plan has been, which is to get close to Harley Quinn because Ivy is likely doing the least amount of mind control to Harley, and he feels that Harley can help break Ivy out of this and make her let go of people. Anyway, so using Catwoman, he's able to snap Harley out of everything and get her away from the Justice League. Catwoman knocks Poison Ivy out for about 15 seconds, and they have about 15 seconds to wake her up before airplanes start crashing to the ground. So anyway, he gets Harley and gets Harley to talk some sense into Ivy and to realize that the way she's doing things just is not okay, and kind of get her on a redemption arc. Now here's the thing that I think is really, really interesting. And I do have a problem with this, I should say. What's interesting about this is there is an undeniable fan community for Poison Ivy that really, really wants her to be on the side of good, that sympathizes with Poison Ivy and agrees with her about, a message of environmentalism, yada, yada, yada. But my thing has always been, yeah, sure, but she kills people. She does a whole lot of killing people. So, what do you do with that? Like, you can't just have her, okay, suddenly I'm a good guy because she kills people. She's been fine with killing people the whole time. So I think this provides an interesting redemption arc or turning arc. Because I'm not against the idea of Ivy being a good person, being a positive character, but I feel like we just started to try to make her into a more heroic character without ever giving her that moment to confront the things she's done in her past that are wrong and turn on them toward a better path in which, you don't kill people. And so I feel like in some ways this does that. Though here is the very specific problem with it. And it's fair because, as far as I know, this is the first time we've seen Poison Ivy in Rebirth continuity where she is where she's being a villain. There's this and War of Jokes and Riddles, which takes place in early Batman continuity. Year 2. How to put this? So, Ivy, in this continuity, has apparently only killed 5 people. That we know of. As far as Tom King is concerned, let me put it that way. The Ivy of Rebirth continuity has only killed 5 people. And honestly, that's fine. And she's haunted by their deaths. And the reveal we get here is, at least in my opinion, a retcon wherein we see that she didn't kill the people. She incapacitated and strung them up. Riddler killed the people. I don't like that part of it. I have no problem with Ivy having a redemption. I have no problem with Ivy being a more heroic character with the same message of environmentalism. With Ivy healing, I really like the idea that the thing that kind of saves Ivy's humanity is her relationship with Harley. I really like that. But I really, 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 really don't like that we're retconning her killing people, because to me that is a defining feature of the character and what made her a villain. So that is, if the implication here is what I feel it is, that she's only killed the 5 people we saw her kill on panel in War of Jokes and Riddles, and that it was actually Riddler that did it, not her, I really don't like that. I have no problem with her being a reformed killer, and Harley and Batman putting her on a good path, but I do not like the idea of retconning that she's killed people, even if it is only 5 people. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this. Mikel Janin does some fantastic artwork, though. I should definitely say, I'm pretty sure it was Mikel Janin who did the I Am Suicide arc. Like, this looks like exactly what he did with the sewer pipes in that. Where there was like a whole conversation going as characters were climbing around on sewer pipes. This definitely reminds me of that, and I thought this was really cool. The way you get panel breaks just naturally through the imagery of lines that are part of the environment. I think that's really cool. Anyway. So yeah, I'm a little on the fence about this. It's not the best thing Tom King's written, and I can't help but feel like there is some reaction, because I know when he wrote War of Jokes and Riddles, he got a lot of pushback from the Ivy fan community for him having her be a killer again in that, even though it was early continuity. And I can't help but feel like this is him trying to, like, thinking on the reaction he got and saying, okay, well, if she's not going to be a killer, if we want Ivy to be a hero, then we need to address the fact that she has killed and put her on a redemption arc. And this just, I don't know, it just doesn't quite come together for me. I see people are asking, Akuma Ranger says, can it be of self-defense in War of Jokes and Riddles and Riddler manipulating the situation? No, it's like she left the people hanging, and the flashback shows Riddler came back and shot them in the head. So that's, it is very directly Riddler killed them, not Ivy, and I don't like that. That part I really don't care for. Riddler can kill as many people as you want him to... sorry, I got something in my eye. Riddler can kill as many people as you want him to kill. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't like that we're retconning, at least from my interpretation, the idea that Ivy's killed people. And maybe I'm reading too much into the notion here, but the feeling I got was that King was saying those are the only 5 people she's killed. So there might need to be some clarification on that one. Alright. Let's see what else is going on in the comments here. Philip Kelton says, the way I would make a redemption arc with Ivy is that she is okay with murder till she get the power of killing 3 parts of the population of Earth, and she gets broken when she figures out she can't push herself to kill that many people. Maybe. I guess I could see that. And Dr. Holocron says, to be fair, it's not like he's retconning people she's killed in past comics. I don't know. I feel that's vague, but the implication I got is that, yes, he is. At least for me. Don't take my word for it. Tom King's very active on Twitter. That is definitely a question worth asking him. Because that part I feel is kind of unclear. in the book. All right. Let's go ahead. How am I supposed to pronounce this? Jirni? I-R-N-I. Jirni? Dreen? Anyone want to help me out in the comments, live comments here, on how to pronounce this? Jirni. She's a genie, or a djinn, so Jirni, yeah, I'm kind of going like it's supposed to be pronounced Jirni, which would make sense with the story in it, but I feel really stupid right now, because I can't quite wrap my English-speaking brain around that name, and I'm kind of embarrassed. I'm the most professional reviewer you will ever meet. I swear to God. Anyway, so we have this. I'm just going to go with Jirni. I'm going to go with Jirni. I'm going to say it kind of like fast. Jirni. Which I saw in the stand, and I saw the 25-cent price tag over here, and I cannot pass up sometimes the opportunity to buy a book for 25 cents. But a lot of the imagery I was looking at really gave me the impression that it was going to be about genies. And it is. And, like, I have a thing for genies. I really, really like genies. It's just, growing up, my favorite Disney movie was Aladdin, and Robin Williams is the genie and all that stuff, so genies kind of just always been, like, a part of my brain, and I've always thought about genies in certainly way too much detail. Zoro Fan Production says, it's pronounced Jirni. Jirni. No, that's how it's spelled. I'm asking, can we get a phonetic, please? Anyway. So, like, I've always liked genies quite a bit, or djinns, if you want to be more apt to the official pronunciation. And dead serious, if any of you ever find a magical genie lamp, dibs. Okay? And like, I know that sounds like I'm being selfish and whatever, but trust me, I know what I'm doing when it comes to genies. I got this shit on lock. Alright? I will help you. I promise. You want me to have your 3 wishes. You're gonna fuck them up. I won't. I got this, man. We'll be fine. You just gotta call me. Anyway, let's see here. Kuma Ranger says, is this a Michael Turner book? No, maybe. This is written by J.T. Krul, and with art by... fucking names tonight, man. Paolo Pantalena? You know, sometimes artists and writers that I do reviews of come on here and leave comments and say, my name's pronounced like this, and I always feel so embarrassed because I'm just terrible at pronunciation of literally anything. Anyway, so this is called a primer, and if I'd known what it was, I thought this was like a first issue for 25 cents. If I'd known that it was a primer, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But I will say this does what it's intended to do, and it makes me want to go read the book. Because this is an advertisement for Volume 3 of this series. And what it does is it basically takes scenes from random issues, I guess, that kind of tell you what her journey has been and who she is and how she got to where she's at the beginning of this apparent Volume 3 that's coming out. And I'm all down for that. I might end up having to go buy the first volume and talk about it in an issue of Trade, or an episode of Trade Talk, because this definitely has me intrigued. But anyway, we have what's her name? Hold on, I got names over here. Ara, A-R-A, who is a princess in this land, and her mother is named Luna, like the moon. And during an invasion of the city, her mother locks her away and says that she will go to protect her, but then her mother is tricked by someone who has her container and is trapped in her vessel, because her mother is a djinn. And it is when Ara's life is threatened that she taps into her own power and realizes that she too is a djinn, but she is free. She has no vessel. So she's able to use this power and start searching for her mother in order to free her. And she gets all the way to meeting her and starts to get an explanation of her past and of her people, what they are, what being a djinn is, what being a djinn means. And then epic fight ensues, but we don't get to see much of what looks like a really fucking kick-ass epic fight. Wherein Ara wins and continues to try to track down her mother, but is eluded at the last minute by this really fucking cool-ass ancient steampunky blimp with fucking wings. It's cool as shit. And yeah, it really makes me want to read this. The art is also really, really good, though I've got to be honest, it's a bit ridiculous in the over-sexualization of Ara as a character. This girl has got cleavage for days. For days. And as a straight male, I appreciate some good cleavage. But I find it ultimately really tone deaf in a lot of books. It's a real cliche of superhero comics that women have to just have gigantic breasts that are just completely open, and somehow that's okay to go into battle with, and you're not going to get your tit cut off. I don't like that. It honestly annoys the hell out of me, because like it's there is eye candy, but I want to relate to your character. I want to be invested in your character. I don't want to get hard for your character. I don't want to get off on your character. I don't want to drool over your character. I want to be invested in them as a character. And from the little bit of this story, I certainly was. Like, I'm definitely intrigued in the character, but I feel the art is just... this is what people mean when they say exploitative. And it's not like that's the only shot of her. And I do feel like this is probably from multiple books that we're getting this imagery. But so maybe that's slightly less of a problem, but like, I don't know. There's just a lot of it. And I'm just like, it's such a eye-rolling moment for a lot of comics. I'm like, yeah, it looks sexy, I guess, but here's a good example of when it's tone deaf as fuck. She's rushing to try to save her mother, and at the last minute, it's all stolen. The chance of reuniting is stolen from her as they fly away into the sunset, and we just get this shot of her in desperation and shock, but it's like at least 2/3 boob. I'm just like, really? That's like a really good character moment, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't like that stuff. I do think the art looks good, though. I think some of the other creature design and stuff looks really cool. I love the snippet of the fight with the other djinn that has completely lost his will is really, really cool. And it's just neat as hell. Like, I like this panel of the villain with, he's got her mother and this other djinn captive, and that's just, I think that's really cool. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely look into Jirni Volume 1, if nothing else, and see about it, because it does sound like it'd be a really fun read for me, just as someone who likes genies. Trying to remember the name of a video game. There's a video game where it's like a little genie girl, and I remember seeing some Let's Plays of it, and I was like, that looks like fun. Anyway, I don't know, I found it interesting, and it definitely makes me want to read it, so good enough, complaints aside. We'll see. I'm gonna do some Amazon searching tonight, see what comes up. All right. Super Sons, number 14. It's done, Mother. Superboy is dead. Comic book covers that have nothing to do with what happens in the issue. Not even a little bit. Not even a tiny little itty bit. Like, the implication that this cover is that Damian is either mind-controlled or forced by his mother to kill or attack John. Nothing like it. There's not even a second of animosity between the boys in this. It's a complete bullshit cover. Anyway. So, Lois is in Gotham on assignment, and she gets a call from John, and John has to try to keep her talking so Damian can track the call, so they can go and protect her from Talia, who's doing some attempted snipering. And I love the dialogue in this book so much. Okay, Robin, let's go save my mom from your mom. This is the ultimate, like, my mom could beat your mom up in a fight kind of thing. I love it. It's beautiful. Because, like, you remember when you were like a kid and you had, you know, neighborhood friends and stuff, and like there was the parents who didn't like each other. I remember that. Yeah, that was good stuff. Anyway, so they get there just in time for Superboy to stop the bullet from hitting Lois Lane and Damian to start fighting his mom. They have a fight. Damian gets his ass kicked. Talia is a horrible mother, as per usual. Superboy gets to beat up some ninjas and have to try to not have his mom mad at him as he's doing it. And Damian ultimately ends up coming in and defeating his mother. Which, you know, that's good family dynamic. I really love this conversation. Like, to me, the ultimate conversation between Damian and Talia al Ghul was when Dick was Batman and he brought Damian to talk to Talia at the League of Assassins headquarters, and she saw Damian in the Robin costume and says, "Take that ridiculous outfit off and return to my side as a leader in the League of Assassins." And he says, "No, I'm not doing it." And Talia says, "If you leave here, you will leave an enemy of the House Al Ghul." And he looks down and looks back up and says, "I hope I'll be a worthy one." And it's always been, always been one of the best moments of Damian and Talia, and I think it perfectly epitomizes their relationship. I also really like this moment, though, as Damian's holding a sword at his mother. "I was worried you had gotten too soft in your father's custody, but I see that the shell is not easily cracked, and never will be by the likes of you. You are, and always will be, an assassin at heart, my lovely boy. Your mother's child, all alone, battling through your darkness, your pain, just as I was raised. Father is all the family I need, and I have friends now. You aren't friends, Damian. They're your victims who simply don't know it yet." And that pisses him off, and he strikes at her. And she says, "Such a Bruce move," and starts to fight him again. But John proves that he is Damian's friend because he drops the League of some assassin members onto her. And so Damian tells her to get the hell out and never come back. And then, you know, John and Damian get, you know, a cute little moment together at the end where John wants to know how to sword fight, and Damian's telling him, "I'm not going to teach you that." It's really cute. It's really fun. It's really sweet. I love these kids. I love this book, and it's ending because of you people, and I hate you all. This book's canned. It's not getting more issues, and I'm sorely disappointed because it's so good. Ugh, it's all your fault. You specifically. Definitely you. You know what you did. Let's see. Raccoon Ranger says, well, that's not fair for John. Damien has two with an actual mom and soon to be stepmom. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Well, that's not fair for John. Damien has two with an actual mom and soon to be stepmom. Oh yeah, Damien's moms could beat up John's mom. Got it. So took a while, but we got there. So disappointed this book's ending. It's so good. So good. Alright, that's going to do it for live interaction, I think. I'll probably get back to it a little bit after I do the trade talk, because I'm curious what you guys will think of the trade itself, so stay tuned for that. But I'm going to go into trade talk now, after I blow my nose. Sorry, I'm getting all stuffed up, so I'll be back in just a sec, and we'll start trade talk. How's that sound? Once again, my levels of professional etiquette should never be doubted, because I am the most professional YouTuber and reviewer you'll ever meet. Just leave a live stream right in the middle of it to go blow my nose. Alright, let's go ahead and get set up here, and we shall start. Alright. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Trade Talk. This week I'm very excited because we'll be talking about Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1. And I'll say right off the bat, I cannot wait for Volume 2. I really like Green Lantern, but I've not been keeping up with the mainline continuity in comics. Just really lost interest for a while after Blackest Night, and then after Jeff Johns left, and I just have never caught back up. I started to with Godhead, but then fell off, so I was really waiting for some more standalone Green Lantern stuff, and when this got announced, I got really excited, because I've been fan theorizing for who could be a really good pick for a Green Lantern Earth 1 title. There's, of course, been rumors circulating that we're not getting any more Earth 1 books, but then they kind of announced, Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 2 and stuff, so I was really excited for this. Just the concept of a standalone Green Lantern story, I was really hyped for. I didn't care if it was just going to be another origin, which this is, but not in the typical way that you think of a Green Lantern origin, and I really like it. I will say this further breaks the idea that Earth 1 is a cohesive universe. Let me grab something real quick here. Oh, knock that over. Come on with me. There we go. So I've not read Multiversity yet. It's on my list of episodes for Trade Talk, but they go through and they break down the different multiverses in like what every Earth is, and well, maybe not. Where am I at? Where's it at? I know it's in here somewhere, but they go through and give you a lineup of every Earth. Well, did I just pass it? I felt like I just passed it there. That was Hitler on the toilet. Man, I really need to read this now. It had Hitler on the toilet. I'm like super excited. But anyway, they go through in Multiversity and break down who or which Earth everyone belongs to. God, okay, just check it off because you're a problem. And they show Earth 1 on that list, and they show at the time it was Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman because they were the Earth 1 characters. Now we also had Teen Titans Earth 1, but Teen Titans Earth 1, the author has confirmed that no other superheroes exist in that universe and that continuity for him. And this just, if it does exist with other superheroes in continuity, then it doesn't make any sense or it doesn't matter because this seems to be set in kind of like a not far future, but far enough future that it's hard to tell what's going on. And I can't, oh, there we go. There it is. The breakdown of all the different Earths took a minute. It's in the middle of the book for reasons. Yeah. So there's Multiversity. It shows you Earth 1 with the Earth 1 Batman design, Wonder Woman design, Superman design. And so Green Lantern Earth 1 is apparently in the same universe, but it's set relatively far in the future. The comparison I would draw, the one that it feels the most like is Alien, with the privatized space fleets and all that stuff. It really felt like it was right out of Alien. So in this is an origin for Hal Jordan, but in it he is working for Ferris Galactic, who does asteroid mining just within the Earth's solar system, and all the space exploration is only interested in the inner solar system at furthest. Their thoughts of going to the outer solar system to mine for resources in the Kuiper Belt. But they're really interested in just basically exploring the asteroid belt and surrounding areas, looking for precious metals from which to mine. And Hal's working for them when he comes across a spaceship and Abin Sur's dead body and a Green Lantern ring and a decommissioned Manhunter. And so he gets the ring and the battery onto his shuttlecraft and heads back to the main exploration craft. But the ring activates when he's on the craft and it destroys it. But luckily he's in space and is able to grab onto it at the last second and is suddenly able to breathe in space, and he doesn't understand it. And that's when the green energy reactivates the Manhunter shell, and it attacks him, and Hal has to get into a fight with this Manhunter in order to protect his crew members. So he's fighting with the Manhunter, and it takes all he has, but he destroys it, and he's just about to fall into unconsciousness when the ring sends out a signal with the last bit of energy it has left, and he wakes up under the care of Kilowog. And Kilowog asks him to train him as a Green Lantern, because it would take a great Green Lantern to have defeated a Manhunter. But what Kilowog doesn't understand is that Hal just got the ring. And so Kilowog's able to explain to Hal that there's an army of Manhunters that basically rules the galaxy. The galaxy is under control of the Manhunter army. Manhunter Empire, I guess you'd call it. That no one really knows what happened to the Green Lanterns or the Guardians, except that they were wiped out by the Manhunters. And that the rings don't have a long-term charge, only just what their batteries can give them. So they run out of energy really quickly. They're kind of operating on about 20 to 30% max. But the use of the ring, as Hal learns to use it with Kilowog, attracts the Manhunters, and so he and Kilowog kind of run away from Kilowog's home planet and decide to go look for other Green Lanterns to try to help form an army with and take the Manhunters on again. And so it seems like it's a long time that they're out exploring space looking for, allies and they're not getting any. They're learning more about the Green Lantern Corps and why it became extinct, and that the Guardians built the Manhunters not only to replace the Green Lanterns, but to wipe them out because they didn't like them having so much autonomy. Which is, if you haven't watched my video about Star Trek and Green Lantern on morality, you really should, because the autonomy of the Green Lantern Corps is so important to that universe. Anyway, Hal ends up running out of energy for his ring right as he is captured by Manhunters and brought to the remnants of Oa to be a slave. But luckily, the ring starts to get a little bit of energy again because it gets near this large dome that the Manhunters have constructed. And so Hal devises an escape and gets to the dome, where he's able to use a little blast of energy to get inside and see that the central power battery could not be destroyed because it is an endless supply of energy. But its ability to transmit that energy has been contained within the dome. So he's able to send out a signal to all the Green Lanterns and get them to come and help him destroy the dome and take the action back against the Manhunters. So all the Green Lanterns unite and come together and fight the Manhunters. It's really, really cool, epic space battle. It's cool to see the people we know from the mainline continuity in all these different roles. Like, Orisia's a fucking badass, and I love it. And they're able to split the dome open and get their energy source back, which is really cool. We even get a cameo from Sinestro. And there's like a plan that the last Guardian gave to Hal, that they're supposed to send an energy wave back on the battery, and that will basically blow up the whole planet and destroy the Manhunters and the battery and everything all at once. But Hal doesn't want to do that because there are slaves on the planet. He doesn't want to risk lives. But he explains this plan, and Sinestro's there, and he's like, yes, if this is possible, we must. Thing is, it'll also kill thousands of innocent slaves down in the mines. A small price in the face of our homes, our families, freedom from the Manhunters and their death dealing. Yeah, that's Sinestro for you. Very pragmatic. So, like, even though Sinestro's not a big part of this book, it's a really good characterization of Sinestro. I'm really, really happy with that. Anyway, they're able to devise another plan to send just a shortwave out to destroy all the Manhunters, but not the planet, not the slaves, all that stuff. And save the day. Though in the fighting, of course, some Green Lanterns fall, and they still have to evacuate Oa, but now the battery cannot be contained because they know where it is and they know how to break its defenses. So they still have to evacuate Oa, and they have to plan to make a proper core. And so Hal and Kilowog are planning to restart the core themselves, and they put Orisia in charge because she's the Lantern with the most experience and know-how, which is really cool because she's the only one we see make a proper construct, which I thought was really cool. Hal makes a block, kind of like a hammer shape at one point, but Orisia's the only one that makes a really proper construct. I think Kilowog does a couple small things, and a couple of them get like holograms and stuff, but she's the only one that makes like a proper weaponized construct, which we see right there, which is cool. Anyway, so Hal goes back to Earth, and he's got his own problems to deal with there, as it looks like Earth has fallen under the rule of kind of an authoritarian regime. And so he's going to have to work on that on Earth as well. Saying now we have the tools to help. So I really like this. I think this is a really, really cool twist on the origin for Green Lantern as its own standalone story. Again, this is kind of in line with the with some of the stuff that the Superman Earth 1 book did, where I'm like, okay, the purpose of the Earth 1 line was to give readers a story that they could go to get into and excited about the character, but that wasn't bogged down by continuity. And so while I like this as this cool, like, semi-futuristic take on Green Lantern, Like, it's not really like anything that we've done with Green Lantern before. So you can read this and you can like Green Lantern for the cool tech and the space feel and all that stuff, but this isn't the typical characterization of the Guardians or Hal's origin or any of that. So I don't know if it's really serving the purpose of Earth 1, but just as a standalone, like, alternate continuity Green Lantern story, I think it's really cool, really fun take. I really, really like the art in here. Let's see here. It's Gabriel Hardman did the art and was the co-writer with fucking names. I'm so bad at them. Corinna Bechko? Bechko? Maybe? I don't know. So, like, he did the art, and it is really, really beautiful stuff. It's a lot more sketchy than some of the other Earth 1 books. Like, Yannick Bechko, for the Wonder Woman Earth 1, did a really, really, like, stunning, beautiful work that's almost like a painting. The guys doing Superman and Batman Earth 1 did this hyper-realistic look. This has some very realistic, highly rendered imagery, but it's also just a lot more rough and gritty in a way that I think really helps serve the story, as this feels like a really downtrodden, down-and-out kind of universe where the bad guys have won. This is a very Star Wars kind of thing where the Empire's in control, and it's going to take this ragtag group of rebels to save the day. Because while they defeat the Manhunters by the end of this on Oa, they don't defeat them and their rule across the universe. That's what the Green Lanterns have to go do, is try to save the universe from without now, because they have to go to their own planets and try to expand the core from there. So that was really cool. But, like, we get these really, really beautifully, highly rendered images during moments of triumph, and then these very, sketchy, kind of dark images in moments of fear that I really like too, and I think it really fits the tone on, like, Bullavax. I think that's really cool. And then when we get to the slave camp, where the Manhunters are keeping people from mining, it looks really, really just dark and creepy, and it's got this really rough look to it that I really, really like. So there's a lot of versatility in the art here. I'm really, really happy with this. I still really, really love Wonder Woman Earth 1, and I think that's probably a slightly superior book just because it's a little more, accessible, besides the not being made of clay thing that is pretty in step with Wonder Woman's typical origin, but it still manages to make it really interesting and do a lot that's very core to the character. But I don't know, I might have to reread that and reread this a couple times and decide which one I like more, because they're really close right now for me, and they're easily in the top 2 of the Earth 1 books, which for the most part, I thought have just been okay, but this is a really, really good story, and I really quite liked it. I had a lot of fun with it, and I definitely recommend picking it up. There's not a ton of Green Lantern stuff that stands on its own really well, and that's unfortunate, because I think you could use that. Well, let me rephrase it. There's not a lot of modern Green Lantern stuff from, like, the last 10 to 15 years that stands on its own really well. A lot of it's been wrapped up in Jeff Johns' run and continuing things and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And this isn't that. This just gets to kind of do its own thing, and that makes it really exciting. Also, I mean, it's so cool to see the Manhunters be really fucking intimidating as the main villain. I was, it's weird. I think the Green Lantern movie's just okay. But, like, it opens with that whole thing about, Hal being willing to risk his life, whereas the jets that were piloted by an AI had like a ceiling and couldn't operate at certain standards or whatever. And that scene kind of becomes like it still ultimately serves Hal's character throughout the entire movie, what little one he has. But like the metaphor, connection to Parallax, all that stuff doesn't really make a lot of sense. I really think that scene was from an earlier draft of the film where like the Manhunters were the villains or something, because it would make so much more sense in that regard. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just cool to see a standalone Green Lantern story again. It was cool to see the Manhunters as a truly threatening and imposing villain, as they are the Empire kind of thing, even though this doesn't really focus on them as an independent character. They're just kind of the looming threat, and it's mainly about Hal's journey, which is really interesting. Hal's got an interesting history here, too. Interesting. I'm such a versatile reviewer. Hal's got a unique and compelling yet mysterious origin here, because he says the reason that he's in space as a prospector, basically, is because he is done with Earth and its people, and he was former NASA and didn't confront something when he had the chance to until it was too late, and then we just get this image of a nuclear explosion, mushroom cloud. So I'm really, really curious what exactly his past is. And yeah, there's a lot that this does to stand on its own, but it sets up a lot for a volume 2. So I am there. Let me buy my copy tomorrow, man. Also, I was really happy that Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1 actually came out when it was announced. Volume 1, or all the other Earth 1 books have been horrifically delayed. This is the first time that the books come out when it's supposed to. As far as my memory serves, I can't quite say with the Teen Titans. A lot of people will say Teen Titans Earth 1, they're like, that's a thing? So this is like the first time I feel like the books actually come out when it's supposed to, and that's really refreshing. I'm curious in the comments, because I've been mulling this over in my head. Who do you want writing Earth 1 books? Who are some writers you want on different characters? Because I thought it was really interesting. I'd not heard of Gabriel Hardman or Corinna Bechko before this, and I know DC's mostly been using some pretty big names for the writers on these Earth 1 books. So yeah, give me a writer-artist duo with a character for Earth 1 you'd want. Because I'm intensely interested to see if you want more of the big name writers, or if you want to see more, lesser known writers and artists take over. Because I've never really heard of these two before. They're a husband-wife duo. Let's see here. She's done Heathen Town, Star Wars Legacy, She-Hulk, Angel, Once Upon a Time, and Court of the Dead, The Chronicle of the Underworld. And Gabriel Hardman's done art on a lot of that stuff too, and done some Planet of the Apes, Savage Hulk, and Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman. So I've read that, but I don't remember what he did the art for. He does a lot of writing artists too, but yeah, they're a husband-wife team, which is really cool. They got a good dynamic here. Yeah, I'd just be curious, who are some characters and writers you'd like to see hook up for some more Earth 1 books? I'm dying to get Tom King on one of these Earth 1 books, because I would love to see him do just a self-contained short story that's, graphic novel length kind of thing. That'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, I think that will do it for this episode of Comic Reviews. If you've been curious about Green Lantern but want something that's less intimidating to approach, I think this is a good one. If you're a fan of the Alien franchise, I think this is a good one, because you'll really like the atmosphere that it has, particularly in the beginning. It's very reminiscent of Alien and that whole universe. So I think you'll get a kick out of it. And yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing, and the Earth 1 line has been going for 8 years now, ish. Yeah, 8-ish years now, and we've got 3 Superman books, 2 Batman books, 2 Teen Titan books, Wonder Woman and Green Lantern. 9 books, 8 years. Good job. So as long as we keep to limp this book line around, I'll stick with it. I'm definitely intrigued and up for the ride. All right, everyone. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Trade Talk. I'll catch you next time. Bye. How's everyone doing in the live comments? Manos and Philip Kelton are here. Philip, yeah, you should pick up Green Lantern Earth 1, because I think you'd get a kick out of it, given that it's got this alien feel. Not a lot of people hanging out. My chat really dies down sometimes. Sometimes I can't keep up with it, and sometimes it just drops dead. That's okay. It's almost 10 anyway. I've gotta let this episode do its thing. Hey, Nathan Snyder. I'm gonna let this episode do its thing, so I think that's gonna be the end of the episode. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Comic Reviews. Till next time, bye.